Hello again, I'm Jay Hicks with Gerald Properties, and we're reviving Goolrick's. But you may be able to tell that I'm not at Goolrick's today. We're down at the old City Hall where the Fredericksburg Area Museum is. And we're here because all the history of Goolrick's isn't in Goolrick's. We got to come down here. They've got some cool items for us to take a look at and hear a little more about some of the old pharmacy history of Goolrick's here at the Fredericksburg Area Museum. Come on inside, let's take a look. Here we are in the labs of the Fredericksburg Area Museum trying to learn a little bit more about some things related to Goolrick's, and what better place to be than here with Kylie Thompson with the Area Museum and talk about some things that maybe you guys have in your shelves that relate to the old pharmacy.
Oh yeah.
Nice to see you, Kylie.
Yeah, nice to see you too. Thank you guys for coming down here. I'm always looking for an opportunity to share some of the things we have. Our pharmacy collection is one of my top 3 favorite collections in the entire museum. And so we do have some stuff here today that comes to us from Goolrick's over the years. And most of the stuff dates from the early 1900s, as late as 1930s. And believe it or not, it is still, I wouldn't say fresh, but there's still stuff in here.
we could still get a little nip out of it?
I'm not no doctor, but I would probably say the effects would not be very great.
Okay, got you. A little past the use by date.
Just a little bit.
Right on. Well, you have assembled some pretty cool items here. Obviously, I think we could see that this is a scale, and then we've got other bottles, but each of these items provided a function or was a vessel for some medicine of some kind from Goolrick's. Do you have some knowledge about some of the items here that you have on the table?
Yeah, and I'll be happy to share. So if we start here, this is Raleigh's vanilla extract. And so this would have been used in the soda fountain and ice cream. But the thing about Raleigh's was considered very, very top-notch. And so it goes to show that Goolrick's was looking for the best ingredients. So Raleigh's, the company, wanted so badly to make sure their vanilla was the best that they bought land in New Zealand so they can be getting those beans fresh. And so you can tell that Goolrick's was always looking for the best. Yep. And so we have 2 bottles of those, and the liquids are actually still in here. The middle has kind of solidified a little bit, but I'm sure that if we were to take the cap off, which is actually sealed with wax, I don't know if it would still smell like vanilla.
Well, it would be interesting to have that opportunity, but maybe we'll do that another day.
I think it's stuck. But then, moving on. So we just have a few small bottles. This one just says K.N. Goolrick, pharmacist, Fredericksburg, Virginia. You can't see any of the written details anymore, but that would have been a name or perhaps the directions. We have another gorgeous apothecary bottle. And that's the thing about most of these Goolrick's bottles. They're pretty bottles.
They're so artsy.
And
the design is important to the vessel.
Because you figure these are all sitting on shelves, so when you walk in, you're want the highest quality stuff you can get, and so you're going to pay that for the bottles as well. We have these beautiful glass toppers. This is dilute phosphoric acid, and I believe this would have been used in things like mouthwash or dentistry stuff. It's really made to be abrasive and kind of get stuff off your teeth.
But easy to get into, the bottle itself.
Oh my gosh.
So we could take a little swig and freshen up on the fly.
And then put it right back like that. And it's got a beautiful Goolrick's Pharmacy label on it. It does not have a date, unfortunately, but I'm probably going to date it 1920s, 1930s. I will come back to the scale, but we have these other super gorgeous bottles. It's got this embossed label on it. Now, what's really cool about these, in addition to them being gorgeous, is there is actually instructions written on this label. So AC, it's Latin, it's antecedum, and that means before meals. So you have your instructions, the ingredients, and then another instruction. So the D would be, I'm going to mess up my Latin, so no one come after me, is quaque diem, I think, which means once a day. So you're going to take this before meals once a day.
And real quick, we believe that you understand that these labels were absolutely the directions. So every layperson, any person that would get this bottle of medicine would, by the label, be able to understand how to use it.
And so these ones, I believe, might have just been in the shop only. So if you needed something and you were going to get this small bottle, but that mixture was going to come from these larger bottles, these decorative ones that stay on the shelf.
No, that makes a little more sense, because I would be in a lot of trouble with the Latin.
Oh my gosh, me too. Trying to research them was a whole thing as well. Another one, again, before meals, and you're going to dilute that. I believe this is nitrate hydrochloride. I'm not exactly sure what that was used for. It doesn't sound great, so probably didn't taste great either. But yeah, so I love those bottles as well. Those are probably 1930s. This one is my favorite. So we have this box here, and this is Goolrick's Remedy, and it was for everything you can imagine. So it will help your inability to digest food, loss of appetite, nervous dyspepsia, sick headache, nausea, uneasiness after eating, sour stomach, heartburn, stomach and bowel issues, flatulency, or disease due to disordered condition of the stomach and bowels. And that is all listed on here. But the thing is, to this day, I don't know what's in Goolrick's Remedy, and I don't know if you've come across it either. I hope to know one day, but that just goes to show how trusted pharmacists were. So you knew that if you were going to Goolrick's and you get handed this remedy, you could trust that it was going to help you, and you didn't need to worry about what's in there. This one still has residue of whatever was in here before. I think it'd be really cool to have it tested one day.
See what's in it.
Yeah, see if we can figure out what that secret recipe is. But of course, the reason we don't know is you're not going to share your secrets, especially when it's Fredericksburg with 50 other pharmacists within arm's reach.
And as you were pointing out, the branding of Goolrick's and the Goolrick's Pharmacy obviously was very important with the quality of the materials they were using. So they counted on it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And we're just so fortunate that we have an example of this. And even though it's obviously not in the best condition because it's got some, deterioration of the cork and some of this, whatever's inside here, it's still such a neat thing to know, because how would we know it existed otherwise?
Now, before I'm anticipating that we're going to move on to the big item on the table, putting you on the spot, because we didn't talk about this before. Do you have any idea where these items were sourced from? How the museum acquired them?
So they were brought to us by a donor. I believe it was the Rector family, and
who was associated with the Goolrick's Pharmacy.
Yep. And so I believe it was just stuff that was collected over the years and then brought to us. We don't know the exact location of where it may have been found within the building, but we do know that they did come from Goolrick.
So they came from our building
at
some point. Okay,
yep.
Very, very cool.
So the very places that you're digging and moving things around, I mean, these were probably just sitting on the shelf there, waiting to be found.
We'll thank the Rector family for grabbing hold of them and giving them to you to preserve.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we are so thankful because, again, one, it's very entertaining to me because it's my favorite collection, but we get to see this glimpse into history, and it's so different from those little orange bottles you get anymore.
So different. So different. No, the importance of the quality of the bottles it makes sense to me. You want to see it on the shelf, and that's what you want to use to help you make you feel better.
And just imagine just lines and lines of these decorative bottles and these beautiful Raleigh's bottles as well, and none of it's plastic too, so he's paying a pretty penny to get those.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, Kylie, what do we have here?
This beautiful piece is a scale. It's an apothecary scale. So this would have been used to weigh out your prescriptions, and typically I would try to handle it, but it is very, very fragile. I don't want to pull on any of the hinges too much. But we're very fortunate because a lot of times when scales come to us, they're missing weights, they're missing pieces. We have the entire weight set here. So what would have been done is there's a little notch here that would have been used to lock the weights in place. So then you can kind of tear them and get them nice and level. And you can see in the top, there's a couple weights there now that you would slowly add those in. You'd measure out on this side, watch the weight until it was perfect. Now, what's so special about this is we have several scales from different pharmacies. None are as beautiful as this one. Sorry, everyone else, but a lot of them are just small wooden pocket scales, or they're just the bronze. But to have the glass encasement and the beautiful woodwork around, because you can see there's even just these notches and edges, I think it's just such a special piece.
It's beautiful, but there's obviousness of use, of its being utilized and functioning for its purpose.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it wasn't just decorative. And just the fact too that it's all here, and if we did actually take the time to really open it and all of that, it would still work. So these weights would still do exactly what they're supposed to do. And so these are by gram. So you'll have a 1 gram weight all the way up to, I think, about, this one might be this one's 50 grams. So yeah, it's a fantastic piece, probably one of my favorites.
Complete set is pretty awesome.
Oh, yes. And so we're always excited when we get more stuff from Goolrick's as well, especially as it's starting to paint a picture. So this alone can tell us a little bit about life as a soda shop, but now we're seeing both sides of it. So it's a lot of fun.
This is really cool. Obviously, I think it's part of our favorite collection here at the museum now, too.
Oh, for sure.
But thank you for taking your time and bringing these items out to show off to us. It's a pretty special deal, and we really appreciate you.
Well, yeah, thank you again. Always happy to do so.
Well, that was a great exhibit that we were able to see with Kylie downstairs, but she's come upstairs with us now, and she's going to show us some featured items from the museum. But before we join her again, there's a display out here of Lena's Hat Shop. And in the last episode of Reviving Goolrick's, we talked about the businesses that were above the pharmacy. They had the hat shop and a hosiery shop that was well known with the ladies in town. And here in the museum, we've got an exhibit dedicated just to that. So come on down and take a look at that as well. But Kylie, this is a big museum. The sign out front said 10 million years of history inside.
Yes.
But you have something favorite you'd like to share with us right now?
Oh gosh, it's like trying to pick you can't pick a favorite child. We have over 3,000 objects here in the museum, and obviously not all of them are out. But some of my favorite is actually just right here. We have a lot of medical equipment. We have prescriptions from Dr. Urbain Bass from the early 1900s. We had this beautiful cabinet, and this was used for electrotherapy, and it was used for those ailments that they just didn't know what to do with. So they would hook you up and shock you a little bit. Now, we figured out that's probably not the best way to do things. So by 1930, we kind of moved on from that. But it's a very intimidating piece and a very fascinating piece.
What an amazing piece of history. And do we know where this may have come from by any chance?
So this was used by a local doctor named Dr. Scott, and he was a very well-known physician around the turn of the 20th century. So this would have came from his office.
My goodness. Well, it's certainly proof that we can find all kinds of Fredericksburg history here at the museum. And thank you so much for taking us around, showing us the highlights, and spending your time with us today.
Of course. Thank you for coming. And that's what we hope to have you guys back.
All right, a big thank you to Kylie for showing us her collection of pharmacy items and materials from Goolrick's. Proof that this old landmark has quite the staying power here in Fredericksburg, and we're going to continue to shine her up and get her glossy and ready to share with the public. And so, as we say, we're going to keep this thing rolling, and come on back and see us here at Reviving Goolrick's.
Please follow us on all our socials to stay up to date with the latest happenings.